If you were coming on the Oregon train, this was called Three Island Crossing and was extremely dangerous because the Snake River is very rapid. They would have come from the bluffs above, and you could have chosen at that point to take either the Three Island Crossing, which was dangerous, no guarantee you wouldn't drown, or the longer route, which was over the top with no water to go to Fort Boise. Either way would get you to Fort Boise, but one way had water and the other way you didn't have water. The ruts are still visible on the hillside, and they would have had more than one way of coming down off the hill because of the sheer numbers of people. But they would have crossed there to the first island, then to the second island, right there, and then they would not have gone to the third island because the water on the other side of the third island was just too dangerous. They would have gone from the tip of the second island and floated across. If you were going this route, you had to take all your belongings out of your wagon, cock your wagon so they could float it across because it was too deep for the wagon wheels to touch ground. A lot of people took the wheels off at this point to float the wagon across. Animals were unhitched from the wagon and they swam across. Those who knew how to swim would swim over to the other side and then help pull the wagons across. Goods were then ferried across on a log raft, and hopefully all went well. Sometimes wagons overturned with people in them, and you might lose a whole family. Or maybe only one would be left out of the family. That would be tragic too. This was just an extremely dangerous crossing. But if you decided to do this, you had water all the way to Fort Boise. Later groups of Oregon travelers were a little luckier in that there was one guy that was very enterprising and decided to have a ferry, and he would ferry you across. And yeah, taking ferries sometimes was more than some people could afford, so they had no choice but to try to do this crossing. Even though there was a ferry, they couldn't afford it.
This is a typical ferry used in the 1870s to cross the Snake River. The ferry would cross here, to the other side, looks like it's pretty well constructed, considering it's been here for over 100 years. This is the Three Island Crossing Ferry. And off to the distance is the Three Islands. And the Snake River. Can you imagine the people on the Oregon Trail looking at what they have to cross, both in their wagons, walking, or swimming? That's a lot of river to cross. The only thing that they could say positive is it sure is pretty. But this is Three Rivers Crossing and the Snake River in southern Idaho.